by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Speech seals spirits. Men can't tame the tongue. Focus on the words that you say. Giving God authority over the words that you say. Your tongue must be tamed. If you can give God control of your mouth, James says, everything else in your life will fall in line. Jesus said, by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Paul said, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, then you will be saved. James has some things to say about this too. The connection between what we say, the words that come out of our mouth, and what is in our heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Today I want to talk to you on this topic. Speech seals spirits. I'm going to be reading from James chapter 3, verse 1 through 12. I'm going to do a lot more interpreting than normal in my reading today. James says, my brothers, too many of you want to be masters. Don't you know that we who are teachers will be judged more strictly? He's setting some groundwork here for the very important topic of the words that we speak, how we use our tongue. And he says, those of us who are teachers, we have to be really careful about the words that we say. We can lead people astray. And of course, Jesus said, if you lead someone astray with your words, it'd be better off for you to die than to do that. So he continues in verse 2. He says, for we all stumble in many ways. But if a man doesn't stumble with his words, that man is a perfect man, and he is also able to bridle the whole body. Consider this, he says. We put bits in horses' mouths so that they will obey us, and we turn about their whole body. He said also, look at the ships, which even though they are very large and are driven by fierce winds, yet they are turned about with a very small helm, wherever the man at the helm wants to go. In the same way, just like a steering wheel in a truck, in the same way, the tongue is a little member, but it can brag about great things, great power. See how great a matter a little fire kindles, he says. So he's compared the tongue in your body to the helm of a ship. Now he's comparing it to just a little strike of a match. He says the tongue is a fire. It's a world of iniquity. That's the way the tongue is among our members. If the tongue's on fire, he says, then the whole body's going to be on fire. It defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature and is set on fire of hell. It's a dangerous instrument, a dangerous tool, a dangerous part of the body. Then he compares the use of our tongue, our language, our speech, to taming animals. Verse 7, he says, for every kind of land animal and of birds and of serpents and of things in the sea is tamed and has been tamed by humans. But men can't tame the tongue. It's an unruly evil. It is full of deadly poison. Then he describes how we can see the problem with our speech. He says, with the same tongue we bless God, who is our Father, and we curse men who are made in the image of the Father. Out of the same mouth of those who claim to be Christ followers comes cursing and blessing. He says, oh, my dear brothers, my dear sisters, it shouldn't be like this. If you go to a fountain, would you find the same water fountain giving out both sweet and bitter water, salt water and fresh water from the same source? He said, if you go to a fig tree, would you expect olive berries? Or if you go to a vine, would you expect figs? He says, in the same way, a fountain cannot yield both salt water and fresh. So what is he getting at here? Other than the obvious fact that our speech is very important. You can't tame your tongue, but he says your tongue must be tamed. Well, what's going on here? What are we going to do? Obviously, if you look at the whole book of James, he is requiring us to live by faith, to look to God so that the inside of us is different. So he says, if you focus on the tongue and giving God authority over the words that you say, there's no way around it. It will get into your soul. It will get into the nature of who you are, because you can't control your tongue by yourself. You must have God's help. Focus on the words that you say, because as you focus on the words that you say, you will have to focus on the thoughts that are in your heart, and you will have to live by faith, trusting in God to change the words that you say. We as Christians, so many times, we use our language in ways that's abusive, that's harmful, that's hurtful, that causes doubt and pain. And this just shows that God's not in control of our life. He's not in control of our heart. And our tongue manifests this reality. Speech seals spirits. If you can give God control of your mouth, James says, everything else in your life will fall in line.